Welcome back to the channel. Apologies that there's been a lack of videos recently. I just don't have any new cars. Since the Mokka, I am now back in an ID3, so I've already reviewed that already, so no point doing it again. So what I've done here today is I've put together a range of the cars I've used in the last 12 months. And put together the range test for them, so they're all in one place. So I hope you can find this useful and see each car side by side. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe, hit the like button and smash the notification bell. It really does help. And I will now stop waffling and leave you to go through the range tests. I will be doing this range test in the comfort mode. And I will probably have the AC set at 22 degrees on auto, just to see what range we get. You know, it is abnormally warm at the moment, so you know I'm expecting a fairly decent range. As you can see, it is showing now 290 miles range estimated. If we get 200, I think I'll be happy. Obviously, if the temperature drops over the next few days, it could change quite drastically, but I'm expecting to get over 200 miles if we stay around this 15 degrees. So I will catch up with you when we are down to about 10%. We've come to the end of the first range test, and as you can see, if we just get to the charging page, we're now down to 13%. So let's just have a look at the data and see what we actually got out of this. So since the charge, here we go, 154 miles with an average of 2.5 miles per kilowatt. To be honest, pretty disappointing, I would say. You know, the temperatures, it's taken about 4 days, but the temperatures have gone from sort of plus 16 down to sort of -1, -2 yesterday. But I would have expected to have got much better range than that out of the car. So we're now fully charged up. We're at 96%, so that's good enough. Obviously the speed is really slow now for charging. So I will go and disconnect. I will then run this back down to about 10-15%, say, and we'll see how many miles we get. So next time I speak to you will be when I'm at the charger after the end of this range test. Thanks. So we've come to the end of the range test, and obviously this didn't take too long because of the cold and that the mileage isn't as long as you would normally expect. So here we are. So we have got 134 miles out. That's using 33 kilowatts. So we've basically taken it down from, I think it was 96% down to 13. So, you know, 83% has got me 134 miles. That's 243 watt hours per mile. I will just work out what that is in miles per kilowatt hours. So that turns out at 4.11 miles per kilowatt hours. So basically, to do the conversion, you just divide 1 by the number with a decimal place at the front. So we are doing the range tests in the Peugeot E2008. So I've taken it up to a full charge. Now there's 3 modes in the 208. Obviously you've got the Eco, the normal, and then the sport. So I'll do a range test in all 3 of them, because the range is pretty short, so it shouldn't take me too long to get the tests done. So I will quickly just show you. So we've got a 95% charge on the car and showing a 191 mile range, which I think you'll find out is nothing near what we will get. Let's just show you on the driver dash. There we go, 190 mile range, it's saying. Now the dash or that doesn't give you the state of charge in percentage, so it only shows you on the phone, which is a bit of a pain. So what we'll do is we'll take this down to around 10-15% and then see what distance we get out of the car. Welcome back. So we've finished the first of the range tests. Apologise for the camera view. I've had to film this on my phone as the GoPro had gone dead. So basically we've done the first test in the normal mode and we've taken it down to about 22-23%. I don't dare take it any lower than that. I will just flip you around and show you what range we've got left. So as you can see, we've got 21 miles range left, and I will bring up the stats. So we've done 86 miles with a 2.9 miles per kilowatt average, which isn't too bad actually. You know, I had been getting about 2.3, 2.4 miles per kilowatt hour. So 2.9 is a good economy, I think, in this car. You know, we've had a lot of cold weather in the last week. We've had some heavy frosts and sort of down to -2, -3 overnight a couple of nights. So, you know, this is a good winter range test. So I'll catch up with you shortly. Morning everyone. It's an early start today. Due to lockdown being over, I'm now back to working in London after a couple of years. So this gives me an opportunity to try and commute with the Peugeot into central London. Now I live in Reading and it's 55 miles from my house to the office. So I've charged the car up to full. I'll just quickly show. So yeah, it's giving me an estimated 216 miles. As we know, that's total and utter rubbish. So I'm going to do this range test in eco mode. Now I'm definitely not going to have enough miles to do a complete round trip, so I am more than likely going to have to stop on the way back to get a charge for tomorrow. So I would say there's probably 45 miles of M4 motorway driving, and then the rest is inner city London, which is around 20 to 30 mile an hour speed limits. So it will be interesting to see how the car performs and what sort of efficiency we get out of it. So I'll catch up with you when we get to the destination, just to let you know how much we've used to get there, and I'll update you then. So we've got to London, my first commute in the Peugeot, and I am quite surprised actually. I will just show you the results and then have a brief chat about them. So as you can see, we've got 60 miles, 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour. We've got just under 3/4 battery charge left as well, with a range of 114 miles it's showing. So that's surprised me a lot. You'll see in the previous range test that I've done in standard mode, which was just driving around locally in my town, I was struggling to get 2.6, 2.7 miles per kilowatt hour, and to get this, you know, over, you know, what was it, 3.5 miles kilowatt hour, it's surprising because most of that journey was motorway, and you would think that a little car like this that's been built for, you know, inner city and urban driving is actually much better on long distance commuting. Let's see the journey back. It looks like I'm going to be able to get all the way back home again without having to charge, which I'm happy about. And I will catch up with you once I get back home, and we'll see the full range test for the commute in and out. So welcome back. I've just finished my round trip commute into London, and I think you may be slightly surprised, as I have, to how the Peugeot's performed. You know, I've been pleasantly surprised. I will quickly show you the stats that I got for the journey. Hold on a sec. So as you can see, and today we are going to be doing a range test as I am commuting to London and back. So for work, it's around 110 miles round trip, probably 70% motorway, 30% inner city. So we should get a good test on the car, on the range. I've had it charged up. I'll just quickly show you the settings at the moment. We're at 86% and it's saying 174 miles estimated range left, and I've reset all the trip monitor. So what I will do is I will give you an update when I get into London, so see what the stats are for half the journey traveling in. Obviously when you're commuting into London, the traffic can have a big influence on your range, so we'll see what the traffic's like. Tends to be not too bad going in the morning. It's when I leave in the evening it tends to get a bit more hectic. So like I say, I will catch up with you shortly once we get into London. So welcome back. I've just finished the first half of the journey and it was pretty smooth. Traffic wasn't too bad, so it took me roughly 2 hours, I would say, to get here. We've done a total of 53 miles. Just let me flip you around just to show you the half-time scores. As you can see, 53 miles were done. An average of 4.9 miles per kilowatt hour, which is, you know, very good. And an average of 26 miles per hour speed. Second video in the series. And on this video, you will see the range tests in both Eco and in comfort mode. Also I will be taking the car to a rapid charger as well, so we can get a feeling for the time to get the car charged up to 80%. I'll also give a sort of a review of the actual drive of the car as well. So without further ado, let's crack on with this video and the first range test, which is the Eco mode. So we finally finished the first range test. It's taken a bit longer than usual, and that's because the battery range on this car is so much better than the last cars I've had. You know, as you would have seen in the last video with the crossback, the range was absolutely awful, less than half of what the range on here is. So I've taken it down from the 100%, and we've now got 5% battery left. Let me just show you. So yeah, 5% left. Now let's see what the mileage is that we got. So there you can see 255 miles, an average miles per kilowatt hour of 4.3. Total of just over 11.5 hours of driving. Now that was really good. That was in the Eco mode. Now 4.3 miles per kilowatt hour is a much better average than I've got in any of the other cars. You know, I'm doing exactly the same driving. I'm driving the same way. In the DS3 crossback, I think the averages were like sort of 3.3 to 3.5. So that's great. You know, I'm sure you could get this up even higher. If you really did poodle along and didn't accelerate at all. It's been quite hot the last week as well, so I've had to have the air conditioning on a few times, and in the mornings it's been icy, so I've had to have a heater on as well. So you know, that's all impacts on the range. But 255 miles is more than adequate for any family, I think, on a charge. That's going to get you to pretty much anywhere you need to go if you're going on trips on holidays or that, going to Wales, or you know, you can cover a great distance you know, in one charge. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go to a fast charger and charge it up, and we'll see how long it takes to charge on the fast charger, and then we'll do the range test again in the comfort mode, and I'll catch up with you later when I've finished all those tests and do a comparison. So catch up with you soon. So we are coming to the end of the range test video now. I am just now on my way to a super fast charger, a 150 kilowatt hour charger, as my the range at the moment is 11%, so it's giving me a range of 28 miles, so this gives me enough to get me to the charger, which is about 10 miles away. I thought I would try a super fast charger. We got some 50 kilowatts that are a bit closer, but I thought it'd be good for the video just to see how quickly we can charge up on the 150 kilowatt. So I thought while we're on the way, I'll just sort of chat a bit about the experience so far with the car. You know, I've had it now 3 weeks and really like it. I have to say I do really like it, compared to the DS3 Crossback that I've had before. Just feels so much more put together, so better put together, feels solid, roomier, and the range is just a bit of a game changer, to be honest. You know, when you can average 250 miles on a normal drive, just everyday driving on a charge, that's more than ample for any family, really. You know, if you take it really economically, if you're driving, if that's the right word, then you know you can quite easily get 280 out of this on a good day. But I just tend to drive it as I've driven all my cars for the last 30 years, so and that's what I would expect anyone else to do. I don't think you should have to change your driving style just because you've got an electric vehicle. So the fact that you've got such a good range on it, you can just drive it as you would normally drive and not have to worry. You don't have that range anxiety like I did in the DS3 Crossback, that's for sure. But it's a very smooth drive. It sits up high as well, so it does feel a lot more like an SUV. It's got quite a nice ride position, you know, and it feels robust, it feels safe and solid. It's nippy, you know. I'm only in normal or comfort mode as they call it, and it's more than ample. You put your foot down and you feel it. There is sport mode as well if you want to have a bit of fun and throw it about a bit more. And when you've got this sort of range on it, you know, you can drive it around in sport and still get a decent amount of miles out of the charge. But just the layout of the car, the next video I do will be more detail about all the different features that the car comes with, the infotainment, the spec of the car, the head-ups display, and all that stuff. So I'll leave that for the next video, but I just thought I would just let you know how the actual drive is, and it's very smooth and comfortable. It rides out the bumps really well in the road. You know, I live rurally in a village and that, so the roads are a bit hit and miss sometimes. You know, we have horses, so we have to go to stables up rough roads, and handles all that very well. You know, I go fishing every week, more than enough space to put all my fishing gear in, get up dirt tracks and that, and not feel like you're gonna get stuck or anything like that. So it's a good what I would call a city SUV with you know, obviously it's not four-wheel drive, but it does have that feel of a four-wheel drive. And even those, you know, when the kids are in the back, they all like it as well. So I'll catch up with you shortly when I'm at the charger, and we'll see exactly how many miles we got out of this charge. So see you shortly. So we've now reached the charging station. It's a BP Pulse, and as I said earlier, it's a super fast charger. So I've not used one of these before. I've only used the 50 kilowatts, so I think this one does up to 150 kilowatts, so we'll try that in a minute. But first of all, what you want to know is what range did we get. So we've now got 8% battery left, and a range of 20 miles left associated with that 8%. As you saw earlier, we started at 100%. So I'll just turn you around so we can see all the info. So as you can see, we've done 242 miles, which is just slightly less than on the eco mode. Obviously this is in the comfort mode. That's at an average of 4.2 miles per kilowatt hour and 10.5 hours of driving. Let me just switch through here. As you can see, yeah, the average consumption 4.2 miles per kilowatt hour, and driving style 89% in economical range and 11% in normal range. So as you can see, I haven't ragged the car at all or anything, so I've just been driving it normally, so to get 242 miles out. Now, I did a full charge on the weekend and took the car up to 100%, and on 100% it showed me having a range of 180 miles. Now we're down to 71% battery at the moment, and it's showing me with a range left of 124 miles. So this will be interesting to see when we get down to about 5% how many miles we actually got compared to what it told me at the beginning of the 180, to see how close we get to it. Because the last car I had, the DS3 Crossback, was notorious for suddenly it will say you've got 150 miles and then 5 minutes later you've got 110 miles and you've only travelled 10 miles. So you could never rely on it to let you know really how much charge and distance you've got left. So I'll keep you updated throughout the video on the range and how it compares. So from 100% to 71%, I've done 44 miles, and it's showing me with 124 miles left. So that's 168 miles compared to the 180 that it showed me at the beginning. So it's a 12-mile difference so far, and we will we'll see how that goes. As I said in the previous video, I appreciate all your comments, and if there's something that you would like me to focus on in one of my videos, please leave a comment below. Also, if you are new to the channel, please subscribe, hit the like button and also the notification bell, and this will allow you to be alerted when I update my videos. Hi, welcome. So I've now driven the car from a 100% charge down to now we've got 7% left. This was driven in eco mode. I charged it up on the Saturday. It's now Thursday. So when I first charged the car up and it was at 100%, it was giving me a range of 180 miles. So I'll show you exactly how many miles I've actually got out of it. So we're talking 93% of the battery I've used. So I will show you on my screen exactly what the distance is that we've done and a few other bits of info that the car gives us about our driving style and that. So to start with, I will show you our accumulated info. So this was zeroed out. So this was zeroed out when it was at 100% charge. So it's showing us as doing 148.2 miles, and that is with an average of 4.3 miles per kilowatt hour and a total of 6 hours 11 minutes driven. So that is basically about 32 miles less than we was given as the estimated range, which compared to my last car, the DS Crossback, is fairly good, bearing in mind that on the Crossback it would just randomly change the number, and quite drastically. You know, 1 minute you could say you've got 70 miles and then 2 or 3 miles up the road you've got 30 miles, so it was really bad at estimating your range. So what that is telling us is that during that period I've done 69% economical mode and 31% in normal. So that just means that, you know, there are times when you'd need a bit of extra acceleration, pulling away from junctions, etc., going up hills, which will push you past the eco driving style. So 148 miles out of a charge in eco mode, I will take that. With the Crossback, I was having to charge at least twice a week. I was getting probably less than 100 miles out of a charge in eco. So it's definitely got a better range, and I think a lot of that also comes down to the styling of the car, as well as it's one of the most aerodynamic EVs out there. So that's definitely helped out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to charge the car up to 100% again, and then what we'll do is I will then drive it in normal mode and see if there's really any difference between eco and normal. I'll be doing exactly the same journeys pretty much every day, so it will be a good test of if having the eco on makes a massive difference or not, or whether it is purely down to your actual driving. The good thing about the eco mode on the Ioniq is it does allow some heat. Quite a lot of cars, when you do the eco mode, it stops a lot of stuff. You know, the Crossback, you couldn't have any heating on when you was in eco mode. So if it's cold than that, you have no choice but to drive in something other than eco mode. The ID3, in this episode we will be doing the range tests in eco and in comfort. So I have just finished charging the car to 100%. I'll just show you that. So it's 100% and it is showing an estimated mileage of 225 miles. So I'll put it into comfort mode first, and we'll run that down to about 10% and see what the mileage we get. Bearing in mind it is 30 degrees every day at the moment, so it's pretty optimum for the battery. So the mileage per kilowatt hours that we get should be very good. But I will update you when we get back down to 10%, and then we will take it to a fast charger, take it back up to 100%, see how long that takes, and then do the whole thing again in eco. So thanks, and I'll speak to you later. So we've come to the end of the first range test. As you saw earlier, I charged it up to 100%. I've been driving in the comfort mode using the regen braking setting. We are now down to 17% charge. I'll just show you. So yep, down to 17%. Let me show you what the scores on the doors are then. So as you can see, we've done 212 miles and an average actually, which is very good, I've been told for the ID3 are 4.4 miles per kilowatt hours. I have had a few messages come through saying that you'll struggle to get above 4 in the ID3, but that proves that wrong. So 212 miles, and if we look at the driver display, it's saying that we got 50 miles left. So I would say, you know, a comfortable, let's say 240 to 250 miles. This is the second in the series of reviews on the Citroen EC-4, and today I'm off to London, so I've got to commute into the office. So we're looking at about 110 miles round trip, motorway and inner city driving. So I've charged the car up, and I'll just show you the data for that before we leave. What we'll do is when we get into London, we'll do a sort of, once I've parked up, we'll do like a 50% update to see how much it's used to get into London. So let me just quickly turn you around and show you the percentage and readings we have. So as you can see on the app, we have 91% battery. Funny enough, it says that my estimated mileage should be 318 miles and 197 miles on the actual car. So yeah, the app really isn't that useful. I've reset the trip computer so we can get an accurate reading, and what I'll do is I will catch up with you shortly when we get into London. So we got halfway. I've made it into London and parked up. So as I said earlier, I will show you the halfway mark. Is very impressed with the journey actually. You know, temperature was about 15 degrees centigrade. And I'll just flip you around and I can show you the stats. So there we have it. We have 50 miles done and a average of 5 miles per kilowatt hour, which is very good. That's probably one of the best averages that I've had out of a Stellantis. I'm now going to commute home, so I've got another 50 miles to go to get home, and I'll update you on the total trip there and back. Done the commute into London and back. It's the next morning now. It's quite late yesterday to do the second part of the video, so I am just going to show you the update on the total efficiency, what we got from the car. Now, as you saw earlier on the halfway point, we was on a really good miles per kilowatt hour. So let's have a quick look to see what it is now after the full journey. So as you can see, it's gone down a fair bit. So the total journey was actually 4.4 miles per kilowatt hour, so it dropped. This was due, I would say, to the traffic yesterday coming out of London. It took me about an hour and a half to do 8 miles, a lot of starting and stopping, and so I can only, you know, think that that is what's affected the efficiency. But even so, you know, 4.4 miles per kilowatt hour in a Stellantis car, you know, I'll take that. You know, it was a fairly easy, you know, I've still got 70 miles left range, it's saying. So you know, overall pretty impressed with that. Hi, welcome back. So we have now finished the first of the range tests. As you saw earlier in the video, I charged the car up to 100% and I've been driving it in normal mode, and we are now down to 15%. As you can see, we've got 15% charge left. It's showing 13-mile range left. There you go. So 13 miles left. Now let's see what the mileage is that we've done. So there we go, 126 miles, average of 3.4 miles per kilowatt hour, and an average speed of 22 miles per hour. So to be honest, that's better than I expected. When I had this car the end of last year during the winter, I was lucky to get 90 miles out of it. So it's obviously a car that does a lot better when the weather's that much warmer. You know, not saying that we're in the hot weather now, but you know, it's been above freezing, you know, averaging sort of 8 to 10 degrees sort of the last week. So it's obviously responded well to that warmer weather. Now, I just want a bit of a disclaimer, because I get told and asked the same questions all the time when I post these range tests. You know, you can get more miles out of it, yes, of course. If you drive like Miss Daisy, if you don't accelerate, you know, if you do a lot of braking, if you're in a very city environment where there's a lot of stop, start, stop, start, stop, start, then you're going to your regenerative braking's going to put more power back into the battery. But what I want to show is an average ICE car driver who comes over to an electric car and drives it as he would or she would their normal car. And that's what we want to know. You know, it's like everything, you can squeeze as much as you want out of it, but that's not what it's about. You know, I want to get in my car, I want to turn it on, I want to drive it to where I'm going and drive back again, and not have to worry about how I'm driving. So this way, driving it as I do any other normal car, I've managed that range of over 120 miles. So I know in my head that if I've got 100% charge, I've got roughly 120 miles in that charge if I drive it normally. So what I'm going to do now is charge it up now up to 100% again, and then I will do the same test again, the same journeys, etc., the same style and way of driving in the eco mode, and just see if there is any difference at all, whether the car does give you any sort of aid to squeeze more miles out. I just get a bit frustrated because, you know, the whole point is to try and convince people who drive ICE cars to come over to EV, and the biggest thing that stops people owning an electric car is range. And if you go onto any of the forums or the groups on Facebook, etc., it's full of electric car owners who constantly talk about how they have to drive like this or that to get the mileage out and to get this much mileage, and it's very off-putting if you're not an EV owner, because you think to yourself, well, hang on, I just want to get in my car and drive. I don't want to have to worry about how I'm driving. I just want to take the kids to the school, go to the supermarket. So, you know, that's what I'm trying to do with this. I'm trying to demystify everything and just put it in plain layman's terms that, you know, if you get in your car and just drive it, you should get a roughly 120 miles at worst. You know, you could probably get a bit better and maybe a little bit worse as well, depending how aggressive you are in your driving. So I will catch up with you again once I have used 100% charge with the eco mode, and then we could do a comparison. So I will catch up with you later in the video. Hi, so we have now come to the end of the eco driving range test. I have just pulled up to a Shell recharge, and as I showed you before, we have now gone down from 100% charge down to 11%. I'll just show you here on the app. There we go. So 11% charge left, showing a range left of 9 miles. Let's see how many miles we actually did on this full charge. As you can see there, done 130 miles at an average of 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour. An average speed of 30 miles per hour. Welcome back to the channel. So in this video we are going to be doing the range test in the Peugeot E2008. So I have been to my local rapid charger at the Porsche head office, and I have taken it up to 96%. I'll just quickly show you. Showing estimated 171 miles. The weather is very mild at the moment, so hopefully we can get a decent range. Now tomorrow I will be commuting to London and back, which is about 110 miles round journey. So fingers crossed we can make it there and back on the charge. If we don't, then I think we got some issues. So I will catch up with you in the morning when I leave for work, and I will then do an update when we get into London, just like a halfway point to see how much mileage we've used, and then when we get back in the evening we can see the full range that we got for that commute. So I will catch up with you later. So we've made it to London. So halfway through the journey I will quickly show you what the data is so far for that journey. So let me just quickly flick you around to the screen. So as you can see, we did 57 miles, and again 57 miles, 4.6 miles per kilowatt hour, average speed of 23 miles. So you know, 4.6 miles per kilowatt hour is a very respectable economy on here. Like I say, it was about 16 degrees, between 13 and 16 by the time I got into London, and 70% of the journey was motorway. The rest was obviously inner London over to the South Bank. Now I am going to go home now, so I will catch up with you when we get back to my home and see what the round trip cost in miles and economy. So catch up with you soon. So we have finished the range test. We've done the commute. This is actually the next morning. It was a bit late last night when I got back. So like I said earlier in the video actually, that I did a commute into central London and back on the charge. You've already had the halfway update, so I am now going to give you the final data figures. Here we are, we're looking at 116 miles done, an average of 4.4 miles per kilowatt. And we have got 33% battery left. So, you know, it's showing about 54 miles range left, 33% battery. So on that sort of figures, you're looking at around 160 to 170 miles on the charge. Welcome back to part 2 in this series of reviews on the E-Tron. I hope you enjoyed the last video. This video is the range tests. So basically what it is I fully charge the car, then take it down to about 10 to 15% and see what sort of range I get. You know, I use this car for just everyday daily use, you know, family, some commuting. I go to London a couple of days a week, so there's a good range of different styles of driving, from a bit of motorway, country lanes, a bit of city, short journeys and slightly longer journeys. So a good representation, I feel, of what a normal family car will go through. So what I'll do is I'll do a full range test in the comfort mode, and also I will do a full range test in the eco mode, just to see what we will get. Now I have already charged it up yesterday to full charge, and I've used it just for a few miles So I'll just quickly show you the charge levels and everything. So as you can see, at the moment we're on 96%. This is the data so far. So we've done 6.6 miles. So what we'll do is I'll catch up with you again once I have run that down to about 10 to 15%. I will then go to a rapid charger and we'll go through the charging procedure, and then we'll do the same test again but in the eco mode. So I hope you enjoy these videos. If you haven't already, please subscribe, it really helps. Hit the like button and smash the notification bell, and I'll catch up with you later. So we've come to the end of the first full charge range. So we, as you saw earlier, I charged it up to 100%, and I've been driving it in comfort mode for the last few days. I'll show you where we've got down to. So let's have a quick look. As you can see, we have got 7% battery left. So we've used 93% battery. Let's see what range we got then, shall we? So here we go. We have done 191.6 miles. Average speed 25 miles. This is the big thing on this car, is the efficiency. As you can see, I've done 2.4 miles per kilowatt hour, which is pretty atrocious really, but understandable in such a massive big vehicle. It's not particularly aerodynamic. If you've seen some of my other reviews, like on the ID3 and the Kona, you know, you're getting things like 4 miles per kilowatt hour.